Okay, what is up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like on the stream, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. You can find the link to that at the top of the chat and also in the description below. Completely free to join. You can chat with other traders, including myself, join discussions, learn a little bit more about the Elevating Traders prop firm as well. And of course, you can find a discount code for 50% off whilst it's still available. So, guys, make sure you go check it out if you haven't done so already. But welcome back to another stream this Wednesday morning. Ahmed, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you as well. Good morning. Good morning. So, as always, we'll go through some USD markets, see what's happening in that world. We'll discuss the DXY, discuss the dollar. And of course, if you are looking at certain markets, let me know and I'll share my thoughts. What's up, Artie? Welcome to the stream. What's up, Knox? Good morning. Good morning. So we'll start with the dollar, of course, as always. So the plan is still very much the same. We've come back into some major highs on the weekly chart, which we've been speaking about for a while. We've seen a big rejection of the high here. Price just about made some new highs, but overall failed to sustain them. We came down pretty hard last week with that really strong bearish engulfing candle. So with that said, I am looking at some more downside for the dollar. It may just be a retracement for price to have that bigger breakout at some point in time. That could be the case, but at this moment, we have seen price break structure here very comfortably, and I'm looking at a lower high developing for a move down. I drew the Fibonacci from the low to the high, or high to the low actually, yesterday, and I was talking about the 0.5 area, which also lines up with the resistance level here on the left, basically giving us that head and shoulder pattern. So you got the left shoulder over here. Let's turn that white left shoulder over there. You got the head over there, and of course, you got the right shoulder in that area. So that's really where I'm looking for price to push into. It was a nice wick yesterday, but it would be nice if price was to go and push, tag that area of confluence, and then probably from here we might see that drop to the downside. So that's really what I'm looking at for the DXY. That's the setup I have for USD, expecting more weakness. And as I suggested yesterday, these are the areas I'm looking for price to come back and retest. 105, 300 over there. And of course, we do have a lovely 104.6 here as well. Those are the two levels on the 4 hour, which looks logical for price to come back and retest. Maybe we might continue to the upside from there, or maybe we might break further. But realistically, that's a move that I'm looking for price to go through. But first, I do want to see a pullback into this area here roughly, and then the continuation. And then there's some setups on USD, which do align pretty well with that setup there on the dollar. So taking that information into Euro USD, we've literally got the inverse for that setup. Not as clear though, because we didn't break structure to the upside, as we can see. So that's really what I was wanting to see with Euro yesterday. Well, Euro for the past week really is that break structure to the upside and then the pullbacks afterwards, because then that invalidates that bearish bias or that bearish structure there at least, and tells me that the market is shifting to bullish structure. And now I can be looking for some higher lows. But again, if I expand to the higher time frames, it's the same situation. Price has, of course, wicked through that low, but failed to sustain that. And now price is trading back above that level of support. So the idea is I'm expecting a bit of a bounce now to the upside. The market's still pretty stretched as well. So I do think we're naturally due a pullback anyway. And especially because of where we're trading, it makes a lot of sense to expect some upside. However, price action isn't quite there yet for Euro for me to be looking to long myself anyway. Seeing some evidence of the market slowing down, which is great, which is a great sign. But in terms of actually finding some setups, this is really what I'm looking for, the break of the high, and then hopefully some pullbacks shortly afterwards. And we can take that to the upside as well, similar targets as the dollar. So back to this area here, 1.07, back to this low, 1.077, just below 1.08. So these are the areas I'm expecting Euro to come back and retest. And like I said, with dollar, it might just be a pullback for price to continue lower, potentially. We don't know. But all I can say is that price is really having a tough time trying to break for the lows there. It looks like momentum is starting to shift. It's already shifted on the dollar. Now I'm kind of waiting Euro to do that as well and take out the highs. But the plan is still looking for buys for Euro. We are looking a tad bearish this morning, but I'm not really interested in the sales. As I suggested on the weekly chart, this is bullish territory for me. Maybe the market is going to break through the low, but I'd wait for price to do that first, go and break through the low first, and then I'll start speaking about some selling opportunities afterwards. But as long as we're trading in this area of support, I cannot be looking for any selling opportunities. This is not the best area, especially for a swing trader, to be looking to short euro. In terms of pound USD, which actually does look a lot better because we did get a nice break of structure with this one. However, I do want to see a slightly deeper pullback because the setup that arose yesterday with that nice bullish engulfing candle there just before I hopped on stream yesterday did look good, but the risk reward was very skewed. It was less than 1-to-1 back to the high, which is not something I would look to take because it doesn't really give me an opportunity to trail stops, to break even, or even secure partials at a 1-to-1. So that's why I have stayed out the market. But again, the theory is the same. We form the left shoulder over here, head. Now I'm looking at that right shoulder. What I would like to see for pound USD is one more push to the downside. Hopefully that will align with the DXY as well. As I said yesterday, if the dollar can have one more push up and then sell, I will give pound USD one more push down and then probably a nice buy. And again, for pound USD, expecting a push to the upside as well. Market's very, very stretched. I do think we could be forming another higher low on the higher time frames. You can see we had a massive swing to the upside from this low to that high. Now we pull back into the 50, 0.618. So this is naturally an area where price can look to bounce from for pound USD. So I will be looking at something like that. I even wouldn't mind a nice double bottom back down at the low here. The price was to come all the way down to the low and give me some rejections at this low. Bit more of an aggressive trade because trying to call the bottom a little bit, but I wouldn't mind to take a double bottom in this area. And the risk reward looks very, very good if you do get that bounce. I'm still looking for pound USD to push back into this level here, which is at 1.285. So either which way, high, low, or double bottom, I'm still interested. Of course, same thing with the dollar as well. Looking for the higher, lower high in this case, or potentially a double top as well. That could be the play. As long as price doesn't break through the high here, of course. If dollar does that, then yeah, we're back bullish again. So that is the plan there with pound, euro, and dollar. Speaking on dollar CAD, I'm still looking for a big sell with this one. Again, still not convinced with the breakout we've had on the weekly, monthly time frames, taking out some key highs on the weekly chart. So I am looking at price potentially forming a bit of a fake out and a big sell to the downside. However, the market structure is still pretty bullish. We're still seeing higher highs and higher lows. So the key thing I want to see is break a structure, which is this low here, waiting for price to break through that low and then looking for opportunities afterwards. That way I can stay on the right side of the market. Otherwise, this could potentially actually be a breakout and price potentially could actually still fly to the upside. So if you can get the break of that low, that'd be great. Looking for the lower high, maybe a retest of this area. Depends how everything sets up, but something like that could look good. Maybe we form some lower highs like this. Again, still a lot of development needed, but something like that could come around. And yeah, we could be seeing a pretty big move to the downside because where we're trading is such a significant level in the higher time frames. If this is just one big fake out, yeah, it could be a real catalyst to get price really selling off. You know, potentially back to this area here at least, or probably a lot further. But that would be the next big significant area I would be looking for dollar CAD to get to. So I really like the sell. Still a lot of work needed before I start to look for some entries, but it's a setup I've definitely got a close eye on if it does develop. In terms of Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar, now these guys were a little bit bearish yesterday. We had some news for Aussie, I'm pretty sure. So as you can see, Aussie pushing down. And this is actually what I was talking about with Aussie dollar because I said I wanted to push to 0.64. It looks like we're slowly getting that move, or maybe quickly now. So 0.64 was the area I said I do think price can bounce from. So now that we're coming back to this area, this is where you can look for your reversal patterns and look to anticipate some higher lows and a break of structure and price turning around because it's been such a significant level in the past. Two really big reactions previously, one over there, of course, and the first one over there. Now we're coming back down to the same area. You can see the conditions on the market have just been sideways. So there's a good chance we can bounce at this low. Again, nothing's guaranteed. But if we do see some development there and market structure starting to shift, it's a nice sign that, okay, price is likely to have a bit of a bounce, especially with Aussie dollar been falling for the past few weeks now without any kind of major correction, apart from this move here, which wasn't much anyway. And that was off the back of the US elections, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, I do like Aussie dollar, looking pretty bearish right now. We've broken out that range, likely going to go and test 0.64 now. And then hopefully we can judge some nice buying opportunities later this week, maybe, or maybe if not early next week. And the USD, similar situation with this one as well. Strong moves to the downside. I was hoping New Zealand dollar could go and break through some structure, but it looks like it just respected the high and is coming back down again. So unfortunately, didn't get that break of the high. But if we do come back down and test the low, again, some aggressive buy opportunities could be on the cards. And I say aggressive because, again, still looking to call the bottom, but you're buying in some really nice areas. If we're going to bounce, this is the area expected to happen. There could be some nice double bottoms here as we approach back down to 0.58. Looking for some opportunities for the bounce and at least push back to where we came from, which is back into the resistance there. I do think we can go a lot further because, of course, if we are going to see a continuation of that range, there's a chance we could push all the way back to the highs at 0.63, but at least the bounce looks pretty likely to me. So some buys on New Zealand dollar around 0.58 look good, anticipating the double bottom essentially, a little bit more aggressive given the fact that momentum's still down. But if we do turn around, could be a really healthy risk to reward opportunity there. And then in terms of gold and silver, again, haven't been such a big fan of both of them. More so gold, not really a market which I'm looking to get involved with. I'm still overall bullish on gold, but not really seeing a good opportunity to take gold to the upside. We had a big break of structure recently, then we broke structure back again to the upside. And then we had a really big spill, and now price is looking very choppy, not really seeing much momentum, either up or down. So I'm not a big fan of the price action for gold. I still do like the shorts here. It's just I don't expect them to go too far given my bullish bias. So there's a nice area supply there. Market stalled there for a few hours before that big drop there on the 4-hour candle. So naturally, price can push back into that same area. There's a good chance of a reaction and another move back down, possibly back to the same low. And also lines up with that resistance on the left as well, taking that across around 26.80. So naturally, this looks like a nice place for a sell. Really strong impulse to the downside, followed by a very corrective move. Normally does mean more downside. It's just that there's a pretty big level of support just underneath us. So I would be very careful in terms of how aggressive you want to be with your targets, because we very much could bounce at this 2600 level. But overall, gold, naturally expecting some buys, but yeah, difficult to see where I can get a solid setup from. And if anything, there could be some shorter term, medium term, if that's the correct way to say it, opportunities back at 2680 if you're looking to sell. And in terms of silver, I actually do like silver. The setup for me to get involved is not quite there yet, but it looks like it's slowly taking shape. Again, the idea with silver is that we had the lows down here, market creating new highs. Now I'm essentially just looking for the pullback of that move. Looks like we're putting a nice little double bottom here as well. So I'm looking for price to start to go and break structure to the upside, see some higher highs, higher lows. And then my job is to try and catch those same higher lows and take silver to the upside on those entries. And what would be a really nice setup is if we can get a higher low above this level and a retest of that. That'll be a really nice setup. Take that back to the highs and probably a lot further as well. So gold, silver, still very bullish. Just very difficult to find some opportunities at the moment. But hopefully silver does develop pretty soon. All I need to do, all I need price to do is break the highs essentially. And then I'll start looking for some pullbacks. And if you can get some pullbacks above 32.4, above that big daily level, that'll be a really nice opportunity in the near future. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the USD pairs. Gold and silver was so very bullish. Overall, maybe not now, but overall still looking to buy them, and then still looking at that down move there on USD. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with USD markets. What's up, Annie? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Ninad, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. What's up, CS Integrated? Welcome to the stream. What's up, Will? Hope you're doing good. DXY having scalping with bullish buys until 106. Okay, I'll have a look at the DXY again. Double bottom for Euro, Pound Aussie, and New Zealand. Okay, I'll go take a look at those pairs as well, some of the crosses. Ahmed, but I think mostly of the trend on Pound USD buy or sell. Okay, I'll quickly go over some more USD pairs. What's up, Will? Yeah, it looks like JPY pairs might be going for a bit of a pullback, so I'm definitely going to keep my eye closely locked in on those, because if we do get some juicy pullbacks, you know, I'm 100% looking to sell. Of course, not just randomly, it has to fit the plan and has to still be a good opportunity in terms of the setup, the entry signal. But yeah, I'm very bearish with the yen pairs. So if they do have a decent pullback, I'm definitely going to be looking for some short opportunities, but we'll go through them in a moment. I'll go through some USD pairs. Ahmed, okay, UJ, I'll take a look. What's up, rocking boys? Welcome to the stream. Hope you are well. So yeah, I'll start with the dollar. So essentially for the dollar, I'm looking for a lower high than a move down. Let me just clean up the chart a little bit so we can make sense of all of this. So essentially what I'm looking at for the dollar is a move down, because we've had a lovely break of structure here from this high to this low, taking out the low there. So now essentially I'm looking at a lower high forming, and it would be nice if we can push back to 0.5, maybe the 0.618 as well. Also tag that resistance on the left there, and possibly from here we might get the continuation I'm looking for. So that's really the idea I have with USD. And you said you're looking for price to push retest 0.68 first. So yeah, it's pretty much where I'm looking for price to come back and retest as well. So yeah, pretty much the same situation. So you've been looking to buy USD on the way up to 0.618 is what I'm gathering. So yeah, okay. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at for USD. So if I quickly go through pound USD for Ahmed in terms of the trend. So yeah, in terms of the trend for pound USD, depends what you're looking at really. You know, trend is such a subjective way to view the market, especially in FX anyway. Of course, in like indices and S&P, the trend is up, but in FX you got trends within trends, and depends on the time frame you're looking at, really, because if I'm looking at the daily, for example, zooming out, I'll probably argue this is a bit of an uptrend, a very weak one, but slightly to the upside. If I'm looking more in the 4 hour and lower time frame charts, I'd look at this trend here as a bearish trend. And if I was going to scale out to like the monthly chart, then I would argue probably consolidation, or maybe we've got a high time frame bearish trend on our hands. So it's difficult to answer that question unless I know exactly what time frames and what horizon you're looking at. But what I can say is that we're in an area where we could bounce and where we could see a higher low of this bullish trend. We have been bearish for quite a few weeks now, but we're coming into an area where we could look to bounce and possibly push up. So that's why I'm looking to buy pound USD. And of course, I do have a pretty bearish bias on USD as well. So that adds another layer of confluence. So pound USD, this trend I would still argue is pretty bearish, although we've had a break of structure there. So it is beginning to weaken. But because we're in an area on the higher time frames where we could bounce and see a higher low, I'm naturally looking to buy pound USD. So it's either we form another higher low or a deeper higher low where I can get a better risk reward, or we come back and form a double bottom and then push. But either which way, I'm looking to buy pound because I'm expecting a bit of a retracement of this bearish trend and possibly a continuation of the bullish one in the higher time frame. So that's kind of where I'm at with pound USD in terms of the trend. But again, it really depends on the time frame you are after or referring to. If yeah, if you let me know, I could be a bit more help. But that's kind of what I'm looking at for pound. We'll go for euro, pound. Oh, okay. So you're aiming for a double bottom on euro, pound, Aussie, New Zealand, USD. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking for that on pound USD if that does occur. Euro USD hasn't really had a break of structure yet, so I'm not really as interested with Euro double bottom. I think in terms of the USD pairs, pound USD is probably my favorite, and USD CAD would be my favorite as well if we can get the break of structure, which might. It's still a way away, but if it does break structure, I'll probably look at USD CAD a lot more. But I like pound USD as well. I like the double bottom at 1.25. So that's really where I'm going to be focused on. Wealthy Hub, yeah, bearish flag on gold. We just mentioned that it does look like price is having a bit of a bear flag. So shorts around the 26.80 mark look pretty good. Okay, I'll go through dollar yen and we'll take a look at Aussie CHF for Rocking Boys as well. Okay, buy to 106.8 and then says bias off there. Okay, nice. Yeah, so that's kind of the area which I was expecting a bounce from, but of course, we'll gauge price action, see how we're looking. Maybe we have a deeper pullback than that, but that's the area which I do like for some shorts on USD and hopefully some buys on some of the other USD majors. Well, so it's up to you, Ahmed. If you have a solid bias and a solid plan behind that sell, just because I've got bullish bias doesn't mean you should cut the trade instantly. If you took the trade for the right reasons, then see out that trade. Um, at the end of the day, no one knows essentially where the market's going to go. We're just making educated guesses. So if you took the sell for the right reasons, see it through as long as you're managing risk. And you can always look for opportunities after that. So you don't necessarily have to cut the trade because I'm looking to buy a pound. Lauder, good morning. Hope you're well. Welcome to the stream. Good morning, Ben. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. I'm about to go through UJ and Aussie Chef before I forget. Okay, your CHF Jake Price sell the early stopped out soon. I mean, that's not the worst situation in the world because if we do have the bias correctly, okay, if you do take a trade a little bit too soon, yes, potentially you might get stopped out, but you can always look for the re-entry later on. As long as you've got a positive risk reward, you make back that loss plus more. So getting into a trade too early isn't the worst situation in the world, especially if you're managing risk correctly. If the bias is correct, which of course it might not be as well, but if the bias is correct, you just look for the re-entry a little bit later on, and hopefully you make back that loss plus more. But yeah, in terms of USD JPY, then we'll take a look at Aussie CHF. So yeah, USD JPY looks like we're having a bit of a bounce on some of the yen pairs. USD JPY looking a little bit bullish. It looks like we're just about taking out some structure. If I drop to the lower time frames, broken through the low here. I mean the high here, sorry. It looks like we're just about to go and break through the high there as well. Not really confirmed just yet, but looks like we're trying to. So yeah, it looks like price is shifting in structure. So hopefully there could be some nice pullbacks now for dollar yen and the other yen pairs, which we'll take a look at in a moment. Looking at something like this to develop over the next few days. Again, the areas I said I like to sell from is still this area up here, which again I think is still a little bit far. I think I still find it hard to see price have a pullback all the way to 153.5. I think a bit more reasonable might be this low here on the left. Keep saying low. This swing high here on the left, 151.5. Could be seeing a retest of this area. Nice brief area of supply. Market consolidated for a few hours before a really big drop. Could see price come back and test that same area before having the sell. If the market does break through that area, then of course, 100%, 153.5 is very much on, and I'll be looking there for opportunities. We've broken through structure here very well, so now we're looking at pullback of that and a continuation. So these are the two areas which I think make a lot of sense for dollar yen sales. So 151, 500, 153, 500. I still think this is a bit far-fetched. So this is probably the more realistic opportunity. So keep an eye on that. If we do break through, then maybe we do get that bigger pullback, and I'll be ready there waiting. But UJ, I'm very bearish on. We had a very strong close on the weekly chart. last week. I'm essentially looking for that momentum to continue, and see a lot more downside from that. I'm pretty much bearish across the board for the yen pairs, but it looks like we are getting a bit of a pullback, which is great because it might mean some nice trades for myself. But yeah, still very bearish on the yen pairs, dollar yen included. So I'd keep an eye on those areas for some sells. And in terms of Aussie CHF, so you said you're selling this one. Wow, is looking very bearish there. Very, very big move. Okay, look at that. So yeah, Aussie Chef, I mean, still not in an area of interest for me. This is the low I would look to buy from, and this is still the high I'll look to sell from. So unless we're trading one of those areas, I'm not really interested with Aussie Chef because overall, it still very much is in a consolidation. So I need price to be trading at the lower end of that range or the higher end of that range for me to take any trades. So at the moment, yes, we're seeing some nice momentum, but I'm not going to read too much into it until we're testing the low here at 0.562 or testing the high there at 0.585. Yeah, this is just very speculative price action. And it's difficult to get a good read of what price is trying to do. It's just indecisive price action, really. So if we can get back to a low here, I do think there's a nice opportunity for a buy, of course, with monitoring the price action, not just jumping straight in. And of course, likewise, the same here. There could be a really nice sell opportunity to take price back down. So that's really where I'm looking for price to get to. Where the price is going to make that move down there, I'm unsure. Because again, it's a difficult read of price. It's not really trend following well. So I don't really have too much edge here until we actually get to these areas. But yeah, there's a lot of momentum. We did break through structure pretty well. I would say there's a pretty good chance we're going to get back to the low here. So if you're currently in a short for Aussie CHF, I would say targets around 0.567 look really good. And I would look to bank partials there, or at least trade a stop because we definitely very much could bounce from there, and you could say goodbye to your floating profits. But overall, this is the area which I want to buy and sell from, just because of the conditions are just in a big range, really. So yeah, that's kind of my verdict on pound CGF. Not my favorite pound CGF, Aussie CGF. Not my favorite pair at the moment. Ben Long Nas, okay. Max long at resistance, all-time high strikes against ripping. Yeah, I just had a look at the indices before I got into the stream. They are looking pretty bullish. We'll go through a bunch of them. So yeah, I mean the strategy you have of buying into resistance, selling to support seems to be working pretty well for you, because there's been a few times you've mentioned those type of setups, and we've seen some nice breakouts from them. Okay, plan is scalping on the 50-minute time frame. Reports for US almost every day. Okay, I mean that's true. I mean, if you are trying to dodge the news consistently, then you have to be in the lower time frames and you have to pick your moments, because of course we probably will get USD news almost every day, and major impact news, every week as well. So if you want to avoid the news altogether, you really have to pick your moments, and not be in the market too long, because the chances are you will come across it. Okay, Aussie coming well. I'm on a sell, 0.64425. Okay, nice, Lauder, nice, looking good. We'll take a look at CHF JPY, and then we'll go through some indices as well. What's up, Dark Sean? Hope you're doing good. Welcome to the stream. What's cooking today? A lot is cooking today, actually. I think Aussie's cooking a lot today. Don't know why. Actually, no, we had some news last night. Yeah, it looks like yen's a bit weak as well. DAX is going absolutely crazy this morning. Okay, we'll go through some indices. If I have missed out a pair, someone's requested, just let me know in the chat. Yeah. Anyway, we'll go through some indices. We'll take a look at CHF, and Aussie dollar as well. So apparently the DAX is going crazy. Let's take a quick look. Yes, it is. It's looking very, very bullish. So the DAX is very much on the up. And again, unless you're in a position, there's not a lot to do at this stage in time. It's kind of just watch in awe of price action, really, because now that we've committed past the high, now you're expecting naturally a pullback at some point. When and where it will happen is, of course, very difficult to say, and look and take shorts really is very difficult to do, especially if you're looking trying to swing it back down. If you're looking for some scalps, I can maybe get behind that, but especially an indice like the DAX, you want to predominantly be looking for long positions, and if you are going to short, you want to wait for at least sustained bearish pressure. This is just very bullish, and we could push to 2,500 potentially before a pullback happens. So very, very difficult to say what price we pull back from. All I can say really is that the market is very bullish, and if you do come back down, hopefully you can find some nice opportunities to buy that right back up again, because the market conditions are still so bullish. But yeah, the DAX is on a mad one at the moment. If I take a look at the other indices, US 30, so yeah, that one's still looking pretty bullish, hasn't broke out that range yet, but looks like it's trying to do so this morning. Again, overall for US 30, we made new all-time highs as well with this one. So again, naturally just looking for another pullback to buy that back up again. I have marked out 44K as a nice area of confidence for some buys. If I whip out the old Fibonacci from the low to the high, you can see we've got the 50%, 0.618 roughly in that area. So that to me will be a healthy pullback to be looking for some bullish entries to take price to the upside. Because if you zoom out, look at the daily time frame, all the market is doing is consistent higher highs and higher lows. The indices are very much in a bullish climate right now. So the best way to take advantage of this is just to look for your buys and timing the market well. Maybe we do retrace from here, maybe we do go up, and have another big move before we retrace. It's difficult to say, but I wouldn't be looking to sell US 30 at all. US 100, I did post a setup on US 100, and I put it in the Elevating Traders Discord channel. So if you're not there, make sure you go check it out. But I was talking about a buy and a retest of this area. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. The market is just so bullish, and now we just created new highs as well. So yeah, now that we've done that, naturally going to be expecting a pullback pretty soon, but let the market do its thing, because we could still very much have a big move 21,500 before we have that pullback, or even further as well. So just like the DAX, it's difficult to gauge where we're going to pull back from. But what we can say is that this is our new higher low. And of course, we're creating a new higher high there as well. So once that's been put in place and the market's starting to become bearish again, then we can look for the next pullback, maybe to retest that same area, then look for the continuations later on. But yeah, NAS 100 looking very bullish, creating new highs. I would imagine S&P is doing something similar as well. So yeah, that's still pushing on as well, creating new highs, I think last week. And now we're kind of seeing the continuation of that. So again, this is still our higher low, which created the higher high. Now again, looking for a pullback at some point for the continuation. So yeah, if you're not really in the trade, it's very difficult to look for anything. I understand if you're looking for some very small intraday trades. So if I was to drop to the hourly chart, the market's still very consistent with its pullbacks. If you could have another pullback back into this area, probably a really nice buy could set up, but I wouldn't hold into that trade for too long, maybe for like a day or two, and then you want to exit really, because you don't know when that pullback's going to happen. It's always difficult taking those trades for a very long time, because you're only looking for smaller pullbacks. So yeah, with the indices, S&P, NAS, US 30, if you're on the lower time frames, you could probably ride some pullbacks on the way up. But if you're looking for the deeper correction, which will happen at some point, you're going to have to sit tight and wait for this bullish run to come and meet its end. But yeah, the indices still look very bullish, and the key thing is high time frames are still showing that momentum there as well. So naturally looking for more pullbacks and more upside really. Okay, we'll take a look at CHF JPY. We'll take a look at Aussie dollar as well. So yeah, CHF JPY is looking fairly bullish this morning. Bit of a double bottom there on the hourly chart. Price respect to the low yesterday, and now it's just gone and broken through some structure there as well. So yeah, CHF JPY looking pretty bullish there. Intraday time frames. Again, higher time frames, I'm very bearish on CHF JPY. I'm looking at it's coming right back to the low here, and possibly a lot further as well. But maybe price is going to have a bit of a pullback now, and rightly so, to be honest, because it's had such a big drop with minor pullbacks. Hasn't really seen a lot of upside since. So maybe we're going to see a bit of relief for that before the continuation. As to where that pullback could pull back to before continuing, I did talk a lot about this area here yesterday. Again, I think that area is still pretty far away, and it will need a pretty big pullback for us to get there. That's really where I want to see price move into. I got nice confluences there. Looking at that last major high, drawing the Fibonacci, you got the 50, 0.618 in that region. That'll be a very healthy pullback, and a pullback where I can actually look to hold for the next swing back to the lows. Not a pullback where I have to be a bit careful. If price does form a lower high here, it's probably the next high that's going to get us to the low there. So I can be a bit more aggressive in terms of targets. But yeah, it's looking pretty bullish. That double bottom and that break of structure in the lower chart is showing some aggressive bullish behavior. But I do expect it to just form a lower high at some point and come back down. But yeah, that's still my area of interest. As from last week for CHF JPY. Now we've seen a lovely bearish move, looking at the next pullback and the move down. And if we go take a look at Aussie dollar, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of momentum from the news last night, and price is looking very bearish. So yeah, I'm looking for price to get back to 0.64 before we do see a bounce. I'm still pretty bullish on the USD majors. Still pretty bearish on USD, the currency. So I'm looking for a big bounce on these markets, but we'll see. We're not too far away from 0.64 now, and then hopefully we can start to shift in market structure, start to see some higher highs and higher lows, and then take this to the upside. I'm not looking to jump straight into any buys. The momentum is still very bearish, so taking buys straight away is always going to be very aggressive. But if the market starts to shift, break structure, there could be some nice buys maybe later. Maybe not later this week, maybe next week at some point. But it's coming to a nice area where I do think buyers will be looking to step in, sellers exiting their trades. Like to see a bounce if we are going to continue the conditions of what we are seeing, which is consistent rejections of major resistance and rejections of major support, and just all sideways price action really. So that's the plan there with Aussie dollar. But congrats on the shorts there, order looking very, very healthy at the moment. A lot of momentum to the downside. Where are your targets for that sell position? Good morning, Karis. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good morning, Blessing. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Okay, Euro yen. I'll take a look. I'll go through a bunch of the yen pairs. In fact, we'll go through all of them. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking at, Ben. Pullbacks on the yen pairs could be opportunities to add more short. That's really what I'm looking for. Only supports home for dear life. Yeah, if we can break through, there could be some nice shorts back to the prior low. Actually, I'll take a look at that first, and then I'll go through the rest of the yen pairs. What's up, Kung? Welcome to the stream. Yep, I'm about to go through the JPY pairs as well. See, it's integrated. Potentially. I mean, let me actually Google that, to be honest, because you can obviously get the seasonality charts. Okay, so well, it looks to be that the chart that I'm seeing right now looks like USD is normally down in December. Um, Charts based on the last 30 years of data. So usually USD is bearish in December. Um, yeah, and it's normally bullish in January as well. I don't know how logical, I mean, how legitimate this site is, but yeah, according to this site, which is www.seasonalcharts.com, USD is normally bearish in December. But to be honest, I don't really normally look at seasonality when I am taking my positions. Of course, I can understand the use of it, but I don't normally look at it. If price action looks good, I'm going to take the trade, hands down every time. Okay, so we'll go through gold, and then I'll take a look at a bunch of the yen pairs. So yeah, with gold, as I mentioned early in the stream, I do like the shorts with gold around 26.80, around this area here, because we had that big drop a couple of weeks ago, and now price has been very corrective since that. So I do think another up move to the upside, another up move back to 26.80 would look like a nice sell opportunity, because the market's still very, very corrective, and that's the characteristics of a bear flag in play. Really, you got a strong impulse and a very corrective move going the opposite direction. So in terms of what I'm seeing, it does look like there's another move to be had to the downside for gold. It's just we do have a very strong low down here, which the market is holding on pretty well. So if price can break through that, which I'm pretty sure what Ben is referring to, if you can get the break through that, then we probably are going to come back to the low here, which is 25.40. Because of course, last time we broke through the low, that's exactly where we ended up at. So if we do that again, there's a good chance price can come back and retest that same low. So yeah, if we do get the break of support, it could be a lot of downside back into the low there for gold if price is going to see a continuation of that impulse from a couple of weeks ago. I do like the shorts up there. It's in a nice place. You get solid stop loss as well. It's also retesting that resistance there too. So I think that's a nice short. Long term, I'm still very bullish on gold, but I don't really have a setup for gold at the moment to buy it. So it looks a little bit awkward, really. But hopefully it can develop soon after. Yep, true that as well. Oh, you're talking about some hourly support. Okay. You're talking about. Oh, right. I see. I see. You're talking about this support here. Okay, I hear you. Because you're looking to do the old sell into support strategy, expecting price to break through that with the momentum. Okay, I hear you. Yeah, I mean, we've been dancing on that level for quite a few hours, multiple weeks into that level. It'd be nice if we got a strong close into the level, like a strong close back into the low here. And that could be a nice sign that, okay, we're about to break through, because we just fired some wicks there, which isn't a great sign that price is about to break through. But if we can get a nice strong close like we did here, but close into the level, I feel like that's a nice sign that, okay, we're probably going to get the breakout. And then, yeah, probably going to take up that low there next. But yeah, I do like the shorts for gold a little bit higher up, because of course I like to sell from resistance. But yeah, we might see the break of that low as well. But anyway, I'll go through some of the yen pairs. So it does look like we are starting to retrace for the yen pairs now. We just discussed CHF JPY, which had that double bottom in the breaker structure. Looks like Euro Yen's doing the exact same thing here as well. So you got the low down here, price created, retested yesterday, and of course we just got a breakthrough structure, taking out that high. So I do think it's time for us to retrace now. As I've been saying, I do like the bigger retracement for Euro Yen. I do like this low here, and I also do like this low here as well. Both those areas look like nice areas for some shorts and healthy pullbacks too, because we've had a really big drop over the past few days. So naturally, I do want to see price have a healthy pullback as well. So you got the 50 in there, 0.618, 0.618 over there as well. So these are healthy areas where we could retrace to form that next major lower high and be on our way. And of course, I still do have targets a lot further down. I'm expecting Euro Yen to at least come back into this low. Again, we might go for a big bounce at that level, but I am very, very bearish on Euro Yen. I do think eventually we'll get the break of that low pretty soon. But yeah, Euro Yen, 160.250 and 161.750 are the areas which I'm looking to short from and see the next wave. But that double bottom there, the momentum we're seeing, the break of the high, it does look like we're probably going to see a bit of an up move now for the yen pairs, which could last a couple of days potentially, maybe even more than that. But the idea is still very much the same. Looking for the lower high and looking to take price further to the downside. So yeah, still very bearish. Keeping a close eye on those two areas. Still expecting price to push down. If I go over to pound yen, it's partner in crime, very similar opportunity. Again, if I drop to the hourly chart, you can see the double bottom there in full flow, retest the low over there very well. Now we're just going to broken through structure. So probably going to do something like this over the next 24 hours. But again, with pound yen, looking for the bigger pullback anyway. This is the area which I'm looking to take some shorts from. I have to say Euro yen and pound yen, probably not my favorite yen pairs at the moment, just because the move to the downside was pretty corrective. It wasn't necessarily free flowing like I would have wanted to. CAD yen had a bit more momentum to it. Aussie yen had a bit more momentum to it. So I'll go through them in a second, but it's been a nice leg to the downside there for pound yen. Again, this is our last major swing high to the swing low there as well. Again, this is the area which I'm looking for the bounce from, which lines up really well with the 0.618 coming back into 194. And again, for pound yen, looking for a push back down into the low here, which is 183. So in my book, a lot of downside to be had for pound yen as well. But it looks like we are just seeing a natural pullback at this stage in price to take out some lows here, which naturally grabbing liquidity underneath that could enforce a bit of a pullback. So I just think this is a normal part of the bearish move I've been expecting. It's just now time to see a bit of a pullback. So hopefully it can be a bigger pullback. I was questioning this week if we're going to see the pullbacks I'm after. This is giving me a bit more confidence, a bit more hope that we can see the pullbacks I'm after. Then I'll start to look for my entries and of course, look to take it back down to where we came from and hopefully a lot further as well. But touching on CAD yen, which I'm still holding a position, still short from probably, was it 2.5 weeks ago now? Entered the short on 20th November. So yeah, it's been a while. But I have secured 50% of my positions back over here. I have left 50% to run. It looks like, again, for CAD yen, we're breaking structure to the upside as well. So as you can see, we're just about taking out the high there after double bottom. So it's the same pattern across the board with the yen pairs. My stop loss is still trailed just above the high here. So I've been very, very lenient with my stop loss, not looking to trade it too aggressively. I want price to form a major lower high first before I would then trail it. Again, all of these lower highs the market's been printing are nice, but they're more lower time frame, more minor structures. So that's why I haven't trailed it underneath any of these structures here. I'm looking for the major one. And hopefully, it looks like we're probably going to go do that. And again, CAD yen, this is still my preferred area for a short. In fact, I also do like this low here as well. Either of those areas look great. They're pretty much in the same area, to be honest. But depending how price reacts, it will depend where I put my stop loss. But around 109, 109.5 is where I'm looking to short. And again, looking for a push back into the low and hopefully a lot further back down into 103 as well. So yeah, in my book, expecting a lot more downside for the CAD pair, not for the CAD pair, sorry, for the yen pairs, CAD yen included, still have some areas of interest, which I'm looking for the pullback into. Again, if I whip out the old Fibonacci, you can see we line up there very well with the 0.5, 0.618 region. So it's a healthy pullback into a nice piece of structure as well. So keeping a close eye on that for CAD yen. Hopefully you can see that pullback. happen soon. But you can see with the momentum as well, it's a bit more momentum there with CAD yen, pound yen, euro yen, a little bit more corrective. So I like CAD yen a little bit better. Aussie yen as well. I like this one a lot more too. You can see a lot of momentum in the move down. This one's still looking pretty bearish still. I mean, minus the wicks, the downside, but it's because Aussie's still been pretty weak. So we haven't seen much of an up move, but I'm hoping we do because this is the area which I'm still looking for the retest of. It's looking like it's light years away, but it would be very nice if you see a pullback there. Again, lining up very well with 0.61882. So if price can push there, that'd be absolutely fantastic. And yeah, looking for a push back into the low. Again, the idea is still we had the breakout of the range, and now I'm looking for the retest of it. Just unfortunately, we haven't quite seen that. The market's just been a bit too bearish. And that's one of the things in terms of taking breakouts of ranges as well. In terms of waiting for the retest, you don't always see the break and retest of a range. I'd probably say about 60% of the time, you might see the retest of the range. The other 40, price just breaks out and just goes 40, 30, price just goes without the retest. Now, the retest is still a possibility. Just because we've seen a big drop doesn't mean it can't happen, but I wouldn't be too surprised if the market kind of just keeps falling or has a pullback, but just not enough to retest the high and continue. So that's still what I'm looking for. Have to stay patient. But I really like the structure we're seeing, lower lows and lower highs. Just got to stay patient and hopefully we can get the pullback. At some stage, New Zealand yen, I'm not as much of a fan of this one as Aussie yen because, again, it's pretty corrective on the way down. Yes, it's had a pretty big drop, but it's not seeing the momentum I'm after. Again, with this one, looking for the retest of the range as well, but I would just focus on Aussie yen at this stage. So, yeah, looking at something like that to happen over the next few days. And in terms of targets, again, looking for price to come all the way back to the low here. 85.5. This is the lovely range we had. Price broke out of with a lot of momentum. Now essentially looking for the retest of that before getting the continuations back to the low. But yeah, price is still nowhere near that. So still got to stay patient for that to happen. Haven't really broke structure yet, have we? Well, looking like we're trying to, but the double bottom seems to be in place. Just hasn't really happened yet. And that's because New Zealand has been very, very weak. But yeah, still very bearish across the board with the yen pairs. If I go take a look at dollar yen as well, which we did take a look at earlier, but this one's still looking very good in terms of the shorts. In fact, this one's got two areas which I do think look good. This area is still not enough of retracement for me because, again, if I do draw the Fibonacci, you can see 50% still just above it. So this is more the area I'm focused on. But still a nice area to keep an eye out for, and then hopefully we can see some more downside from those regions. So yeah, yen pairs to me seems some nice pullbacks. Overall, still very bearish. If I have a quick look at the JPY basket. Okay, so the JPY basket came back into the area, had some rejection, and of course, looks like we're breaking through some structure now as well. As you can see, we've broken through that low there. And of course, we're seeing that in the corresponding yen pairs as well. So, yeah, maybe it's time for the basket to have a bit of a pullback too. And again, the basket could actually be putting a lower high in. So that is always a possibility as well. High there, second high there. This could be a third lower high as well. So nothing is guaranteed. But if we are having a pullback, this is still an area which I like. But I would also keep an eye on that area there. So 6,500 to 6,300, 6,400 is kind of the area where we could pull back into. But that would give me the pullbacks I'm after. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the yen pairs. Okay, looking for it to break, and then if it gets the retest, you look to short. Okay. What's up, Eric? Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, we are seeing lots of sell-offs. I think more so in terms of Aussie CHF and New Zealand CHF. That's New Zealand CHF. That's more to do with Aussie and New Zealand being pretty weak. I think CHF is a little bit strong. But Aussie and New Zealand have been very, very weak. So they've had some really big drops. But yeah, I'll go through some CHF pairs for you. Yeah, New Zealand's had a big drop, Aussie, both of them. Hey, what's up, Trading Crib? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Okay, yeah, I will go through a couple CHF pairs. So, yeah, in terms of Aussie CHF and New Zealand CHF, they've had some pretty big drops, but Aussie and New Zealand have been pretty weak. We had some Aussie news last night, which of course hasn't come out great for Aussie, and we've had some big drops across the board there for all the corresponding markets. Aussie dollars down, Aussie yen not really down there, but yen's still pretty weak, so that one hasn't seen much movement, but we've had a bit of a spike there as well. Aussie CAD's had a big move, which we'll look at soon as well. But yeah, Aussie CHF, nice move to the downside. I'm not really interested in getting involved in Aussie CHF. That is not what I meant to do, because overall the market's just in a big range. So in my humble opinion, this is kind of my no man's land, no man's area. I don't want to be taking trades in this area. If I'm going to trade a ranging market, then I'm looking to buy low and sell high at the high of the range or the low of the range. Those are the areas which I'm looking to get involved at. Trading in the middle is always something a little bit aggressive. It's always a bit risky and difficult to do consistently as well because of how the market moves. Very, very chaotic, very speculative, difficult to get save stop losses and not get kind of pinched on a random wick and see price moving direction. So this is kind of the areas which I'm waiting for. Really steady support in the past, good chance of it holding again. And if we do break, then I always look to switch that bias around and expect price to have that breakout. So either which way, there's a nice trade from that area. But yeah, the momentum looks pretty bearish at the moment and looks like we're probably going to come back into that low. In terms of the bigger trades, is the CHF pair is going to become bearish again? Are we going to see continuations of the drop in July? Possibly. If I'm looking to sell Aussie CHF personally, I'll wait for this low to break, the low of the range, and then possibly we might be seeing a swing back to the low here, which is 0.53600. So if we can break that level, this is exactly where I expect price to go. I think we've got the all-time lows not too far away as well. I think this is the all-time low for Aussie CHF, which is at 0.534. So we got two birds, one stone in this area. So yeah, Aussie CHF definitely could be a continuation of the overall trend, which has been very bearish, but I need us to break out that range first, which involves breaking through that 0.56 level. In terms of New Zealand CHF, I actually still like the buys for this one around the low here. If price does get there again, I'll look for some buys because it's coming to the low of that prior swing low, which we made before we created. I'm pretty sure this is the new all-time low there as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the all-time low. So, if price is going to hold that support, there's a good chance for a really big bounce at that same level. If price does break through that area, then yeah, we're probably going to come right back down to this low here as well. So it's a similar situation with Aussie and New Zealand. If New Zealand does break through this level here as well, then we're probably going to push back to 0.5. If we do bounce, then we could see a really nice reverse opportunity and a big push to the upside. So that's really where my focus is at with both of them, right the low end of the range, trading the significant areas, because I know either which way there's a nice swing trade to be had. If we do hold this low, it could be a really big swing back to 0.536, back to the high over there. If price does break through successfully, then we're probably going to see a push back to the wick low and test those all-time lows at 0.5. So either which way, there's a really nice buy or sell to be had. But that's really where my focus lies for New Zealand CHF as well. But yeah, potentially we might see the continuations of that weekly bearish trend. In terms of actually trading that's where it becomes a little bit more difficult, because that's where you're looking to place trades. I wouldn't be placing any sells just yet. I need price to be breaking through some structure, which will be the lows there, and with Aussie CHF, it will be the lows there as well. In terms of pound CHF, I actually do like pound CHF because this one, again, it's got a massive range as well. And if we are going to see the continuation of the drop there in July, and this is a pullback, then of course, if we can get the break of the consolidation, there could be some really nice shorts on the way back down to that low. So I do like that as an opportunity. A lot of downside to take advantage of. Um, a lot of downside to take advantage of, and could be some really nice risk reward opportunities as well. However, we haven't broke out the range yet, and we're still comfortably trading in it. So it's a waiting game with pound CHF. Possibly we're going to see the move. I was actually hoping to see it last week, but didn't quite see it happen. But yeah, maybe we do get it, maybe we don't. But if we do, this is kind of the area which I'll be looking to get involved with, retest the high, and hopefully see a continuation from that. But yeah, pound CHF hasn't really been looking that bearish because, of course, you know, it was more to do with the Aussie news that we experienced last night, which is why Aussie CHF tanked so hard, and of course, New Zealand CHF tanked pretty hard as well. So it's more to do with the news on their side. I will go take a look at some of the CAD pairs because I'm still very interested in them. Pound CAD is still at the top of my list in terms of markets which I'm looking to take a trade on. We did see a bit of movement this morning. Price was looking pretty bearish at one point, but not quite doing it for me. I still think there's a bit more upside to be had for pound CAD before we do get the sell. I do like this zone here, which we paused for a few days and we had a really strong break of. Naturally, I'm looking for price to come back and retest that area, and hopefully we can put a nice double top in, and then hopefully get a nice sell and the continuation back to low. That's really what I'm after here with pound CAD. I have to be patient. Have to wait for the correct time to jump into that trade, because we are approaching some really nice areas now. If I get the fib from the high to the low, and then as you can see, you've got the 0.5, 0.618, literally just riding through that middle of that zone there as well. So it's a really nice, healthy place for retracement and a healthy place to short from. It's a nice confluence lining up that level, but it's important to get a good read in the price action, and it doesn't look like pound CAD is ready to be sold off yet. So hopefully we can see a bit more upside. Retest 1.79, see how we look. If things are looking good, get the confirmations. I'll look to take a trade, and yeah, expecting a push back to the swing low. So pound CAD still the number one opportunity for me at the moment. I'm keeping an eye on EuroCAD as well because I like that opportunity too. And it might set up a little bit better than pound CAD, so I have to keep an eye on that. But I still am looking for a bit more upside for this opportunity as well. Another push at some point. You can see we had a really aggressive V-shaped reversal here. Impulse down, impulse back up again. These type of V-shape patterns normally do mean there's more upside to be had. I still think we're having a retracement of this massive bearish leg here. So if I whip out the fib from the high to the low, these are still the areas which I'm looking for price to pull back from. Retesting that prior low on the left will be turn resistance. This is still an area which I think price will have some hard times at, and possibly put a nice double top into sell off back to the low. So I do like what I'm seeing for Aussie EuroCAD as well. And depending on the setup, I might choose EuroCAD over pound CAD. But it does depend on the entry. I like pound CAD a little bit more because it's been trending. But of course, the setup might be a bit better with EuroCAD, so I might choose that one. They're both pretty much the same thing. You know, EuroCAD and pound CAD, they do the same thing really. So it doesn't matter too much as long as I take a good trade, and that's really what I'm after. So yeah, EuroCAD is definitely one to keep a close eye on. Still a very solid level of support here. You can see it holding that area 1, 2, 3, 4 times before we had the break on the fifth. So to me, that's a very strong level of support, and it did act to resistance very well there too. So 1.49, a very important place to keep an eye on. But yeah, with that V shape, I do think we've got one more move up before maybe the sell does happen. In terms of Aussie CAD and New Zealand CAD now, because of the news, these guys have had some really big breaks. As you can see, Aussie CAD looking very aggressively bearish. The key thing with this candle here is that we are breaking through a long-standing trend line here, which is going to be very pivotal, because if this is the breakout that ends this bullish structure, then we could actually be seeing the continuation of this larger bearish structure all the way back to the low there, which is kind of the move I've been looking for, because this bullish move, this bullish structure has been so corrective and hasn't filled me with much confidence that we're about to reverse. So I'm looking at possibly another big move back down to 0.86, and looks like we're starting to see that momentum, which we need for it as well. So I'm looking for a lot more downside for Aussie CAD before I do start to look for some pullbacks. But the idea is looking for something like this, retest of some lows maybe, and finding the lower highs to continue. Be very consistent with them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's see if we can get number 6 somewhere and follow that move lower. So yeah, Aussie CAD to me looks really good for shorts as well. Possibly could be looking at a retest of 0.905 maybe, but you know, still a lot more downside before I do start look for those opportunities. And yeah, possibly could see a nice swing to the downside there, but it does look like the CAD pairs are starting to become pretty bearish. Pound CAD, I'm looking at a big sell there. Euro CAD, I'm looking at a big sell there as well. Aussie CAD, I'm looking at a big sell. And lastly, New Zealand CAD as well, I'm looking at a big sell too. In fact, I was looking at a pretty big sell last week, but we broke back inside the channel, so that did put me off the trade. It looks like we're trying to break back below again this week, so I'll see how we close. But as you can see, nice ascending channel here, market creating higher highs and higher lows. We had a break of the channel last week. You can see on the weekly candle closure, really nice wick to the really nice close to the downside. Sorry, but then we closed back above last week. So the week before that we closed below. Then last week we closed above. So it's looked like potentially that was just a big fake out, and price potentially could use that to its advantage and see a lot of upside. So it'll be interesting to see if we do close back below again this week. Really, I would like to see price take out that low there, because this is, of course, the low that created the new highs. So if we take that out, then I know that there's a very high chance now the market's going to continue falling back to that low. Of course, I'll look for some type of pullback at some stage, but the idea is that I'm looking for a lot more downside. So yeah, pretty bearish on New Zealand CAD as well. Do you think there's a good drop back down to 0.795? Not quite ready yet, still testing that bullish trend line. For all I know, we could still very much bounce to the upside as well. So not going to look to try and force any shorts just yet, but looks like we're slowly getting there. But yeah, in terms of the quality of the opportunity, Pound CAD and Euro CAD still looks very good. So that's really where my focus lies. So keeping a close eye on these boys for some trades, and hopefully with the yen pairs as well pulling back, could be some nice shorts on the yen pairs soon after as well. Looking for NZU longs, but swerving that now. Yeah, I still like GU longs, pound USD longs, and USD CAD shorts. Probably my favorite USD pairs at the moment. Dollar CAD, I still want to see the break of structure first before I do find any trades. And then pound USD, possibly that double bottom does look good, or at least the higher low is what I'm looking for. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Ben. It does look like they're getting ready for a pretty juicy pullback. Yeah, I mean, they are due it, to be fair, because especially like pound yen and euro yen as well, they haven't really been setting the market alight really in terms of momentum. I say a lot of the time that the yen pairs have some really big sell opportunities in terms of the momentum. Normally we take twice as long to see a bullish move, and then when the markets are bearish, they have really strong drops. So that's why I like selling the yen pairs, although of course you got the negative swaps, but in terms of the speed of the sells, they're normally very quick. This sell hasn't been that. It's been pretty corrective, to be honest. It did start off like we had some strong momentum here, strong momentum there as well. But since the break of that low, it's been very corrective. So I do think a pretty tasty pullback is due. And if we can see a push to 194, that would be an area that does interest me. To be honest, if we would see a pullback that big to 194, pretty much all yen pairs will have had some decent pullbacks. So it will be just pick the better one, really. Of course, we're not shorting all of them. Just pick the better one, which looks good, fits the plan well, good entry signal, good risk to reward, and you put your eggs into that basket. So that will be the plan. But yeah, it does look like the yen pairs, pound yen as well, is really struggling to continue. And since we broke that structure on the lower chart, probably will see a bit more upside now. So yeah, hopefully some pullbacks later this week. Wednesday now, so maybe Thursday, Friday we keep pushing. Maybe some entries late Friday or early next week could present themselves. But I do definitely agree with that. Hey, appreciate that. Glad it is helpful on phase 2 now. Thanks. No worries. I'm glad you're finding it helpful. Yeah, anyone wants to check out that course, feel free to go check it out. It's completely free to join. I'll put the link in the chat actually. It's a part of Elevating Traders, the prop firm. It's the academy side of things, but it's a complete free course on technical analysis. So if you guys want to check it out, I'll give you the link. So yeah, you can check out that the link there. You can sign up for free, and of course you can go through in your own time. But yeah, with the yen pairs, I am excited for the shorts. Abdo, you're looking for pound CAD downside as well? Yeah, you and me both. But yeah, I like pound USD buys. I like the buys there. Potentially the double bottom or the higher low, either which way. I'm looking for that buy. Yeah, I'm looking for that buy. So hopefully we can see that setup form. It's an aggressive buy, I must admit, with pound because we've had such a big drop. We've taken up kilos on the left there. So trying to look for a buy in these prices is always going to be a little bit more aggressive. But we're in an area where it makes sense, where we could see another major high low, as we can see 1, 2, 3, possibly could be seeing a fourth in that same area. So it does make sense for a buy. And of course, if price does want to continue down and break structure completely, then of course that will change a lot of things. But especially with the monthly candle close last month, it didn't give me a lot of confidence that we are going to see that break of structure. So I'm looking for an up move in December, potentially a bullish close. It's always difficult to say which way candle will close, but you can have a decent estimation in terms of if we will make an up wick and if we will make a big one as well. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for pounds the next couple of weeks. And in terms of the buys, if they do play out, 1.285 looks like a really healthy target, and the place where potentially we might even sell off from as well. So that's really where I'm looking for price to push into for pound CAD. Hopefully we can find some opportunities later on in pound USD, and hopefully we can find some opportunities later on. But same thing with pound CAD as well. Looking for some sales with this one. It's funny because I'm bearish on pound CAD but bullish on pound USD, which is a bit of a contradiction because pound USD and pound CAD are normally similar in terms of their movement. They do have times where they do kind of leave that correlation, positive correlation. Maybe in this situation we're seeing that, but again, as long as I'm taking good trades, that's really what I'm after. If I can look back at a trade and say, okay, tick the box as well. I did everything I said I was going to do and wait for everything, and the entry was good as well. Yeah, that's really what you want to be after. You don't look back at a trade and see, okay, you just didn't follow your plan completely or didn't take a correct trade or wait for the correct entry. That's where you've got a big issue in your hands. Waiting for silver longs, just waiting for the market to clear the highs first. Nice. Yeah, that's literally what I'm looking for as well. I really like silver longs as well. It's going to take some time to develop, but hey, it looks like a really good opportunity. I do have really high hopes for silver as well. I do think silver can get right back to the highs at 35 and more so the all-time highs, which is back at just underneath 50. So I really do have high hopes for silver long term. We've seen some really nice bullish structure as of late. This to me looks like another healthy pullback of that move with double bottoming at the 0.618 there as well. So if we can start to break structure to the upside and clear the highs, which I believe is pretty much what you're looking for as well, start to find some of these high lows. It could be some really nice trades back to the high there and hopefully some new highs there as well. So yeah, silver, very bullish on. And I do expect us to eventually come back to 35. And I'm still pretty bullish on gold as well. It's just, yeah, it's just very difficult to get a trade in gold because the price action isn't looking pretty clear. But silver, it is. Just needs some development in terms of the higher highs and higher lows. Kwame, what's up? Hope you're well. Okay, yep, I'm just about to go through the crosses now. So your pound Aussies, your pound NZDs, Euro pounds. I'll go through a bunch of those currency pairs. Okay, take care, Will. Have a good one, my man. Okay, we'll see you Friday then. Have a good one. Don't forget to like and sub. Appreciate it. Yeah, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, hit the bell as well so you don't miss on any streams or uploads in the future. But do really appreciate that, Will. Have a good one, my man. Take care. Yeah, pound Aussie, I'll go through a bunch of them. Okay, no problem. Happy to help with yesterday's Aussie yen as well. So yeah, we'll go through some of the crosses. Again, I don't really have any of them on my watch list. Well, I did have pound NZD, but it looks like I might have missed the move there. It's looking pretty bullish this morning, of course, with NZD being very weak. That's giving us a very strong move to the upside. So it's difficult for me to see how I do get my buy opportunity now on the daily chart, because the idea was a pullback back to retest the high over here and also retest the higher low of the trend line. So that was my area of confluence at this area, 2.125. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to get that move anymore with this momentum this morning. Looks like price might be on a one-way street back to the high there, 2.19. So yeah, in terms of the buys there, it probably isn't going to play out anymore. But what I would say is that we might form some new buy setups on the lower time frames, retesting some structure here. Prior resistance, we had a really strong break of that. Haven't come back to retest it, so it's fresh. There's a good chance of some continuations from that area. Let's say we get a pullback, retest that area. There's a good chance we do continue back to the high, and that looks like a healthy target there to have as well. You know, even let's say if we pull back from here, that would be a nice first target, and that could be a second, and that could be a third. Depends how you want to manage it. But overall, to me, it does look like pound NZD's got a lot of upside, a lot of room to the upside. And that was the plan, just looking for price to come a little bit lower. It was still very, very corrective, which is why I like the buy, because normally when price is corrective like this, it means that, okay, even though we're falling, there's not a lot of momentum in the market. There's not a lot of sellers in the market, because we wouldn't be moving that correctively. If a market was very bearish and free flowing, you see really nice bearish legs and smaller corrective bullish legs, retracement, and another big drop, and so on and so forth. In this scenario, we were seeing lower lows and lower highs, but every time the market just about created a new low, it snapped bullish again. So very, very corrective characteristics. So if we were to get back to this area, I would expect a bounce similar to the one we're seeing now with some momentum. But yeah, it looks like it's already happened. Didn't have quite enough energy to get to the 1.125 area, and now we're looking bullish already. So this becomes the new area for pound NZD, 2.157. And yeah, there's a good chance we could make a way back to the high there at 2.18. So that's really what I'm after there for pound NZD now. In terms of pound Aussie, it's partner in crime. This was looking very bullish as well, but naturally coming back into some resistance. So yeah, the buys for this one have already kind of, flown away. We were talking about some buys off that low there. Price has snapped off that and has flown since then. Of course, you can see the high lows price has been making, and now we're probably coming back to resistance. So if anything, there could be some nice sells if we do push back to the high there at 1.99. But yeah, there's not much to do really with pound Aussie, because the way I see it is that overall the high time frame is still bullish, yes. But the way I see the past, few weeks of price action is just a big range. So if we are going to trade a range, we want to sell high and buy low. And if we're looking to sell high, I'll wait for price to at least get back to 1.99, retest this region here, and look for some sells and anticipate some bearish movement from the high over there. So that's kind of where I would be focusing with pound Aussie. The buyers have very much truly left the station at this point in time, so there's no point really to eye up any buying ideas. Even a pullback to this area wouldn't look good, wouldn't make a lot of sense. You're trading right in the middle of the range. I know it's a nice area where we did pause for a little bit and saw a lot of momentum to the upside, so naturally it's a nice place for a long. But yeah, because of the location of everything, I wouldn't be looking to take any buys there. So yeah, the sells is kind of the next best idea, the next best trade really. With pound Aussie, 1.995 is where I'd be interested in. But yeah, the market overall is still slowly bullish. So even with the sell there, I wouldn't be looking for anything crazy because I know momentum is not really in my favor, as we are still pretty consistent with the higher lows here. So yeah, it's an interesting situation here with pound Aussie. Very, very bullish, but I wouldn't be looking to do anything until we get back to the high. And then, yeah, hopefully some sells from there can develop. But that's kind of where I'm at with pound NZD and pound Aussie. In terms of Euro Aussie and Euro NZD, I'll take a look at Euro Aussie first. So this one's looking pretty bullish, coming back into resistance here. So this is the first area I said some sells could look good for Euro Aussie. At the moment in time, looking very bullish. Not much indication of a sell there. Maybe a slight reaction there on the hourly chart, but 4 hours still displaying a lot of momentum. So if that doesn't hold and we don't see a rejection there, we're probably going to see a push back to the high here at 1.66. And that'll be the next area which I would anticipate some downside from, because we've done a very good job at respecting the low here. Just about pinched it, but overall the market is rejecting it very well. So this becomes the next best area for a short for me. For Euro Aussie. If I get the fib from the high to the low, yeah, it lines up the 50% there as well. So that would be a healthy place for a correction as well. And of course, potential nice double top at that area. And hopefully a move back down to here, which would be a solid level of support now, flips resistance. And that could be a nice place to book some profits. But yeah, if we do see a nice rejection here still, which could happen, maybe price shifts bearish, nice bearish engulfing candle, that could be a nice trade to take it back down. But because I said this is very bullish territory, price had such a strong reaction, I wouldn't be surprised if we have a bigger pullback. So if this level isn't going to hold, then of course the next level would be that 1.655 area. So that'll be the next place that I'll be looking for some downside. For Euro Aussie. Again, it's not my favorite pair. It's not a pair which I'm looking to trade at all, really. I say that because overall the market conditions are so choppy, and overall this is kind of like a big range, really. So it's not a market which I would like to get involved with. I'm looking for trending conditions. I'm looking for clean highs, clean lows, and momentum. This isn't really giving me that. Yes, there's some elements of momentum here and there, but overall, the direction isn't very clear. So, yeah, that's why I'm not trading it. But if I was, these are the areas which I'm looking to take some sales at. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Euro Aussie. In terms of Euro NZD, if I do expand to the daily chart, very similar situation with this one as well. As we can see, range over there. Not a big fan of this one. I did say some shorts could look good if we can crack support, which at the moment in time is not looking likely. I said if we can break through this level, this would be great place to find some retest for a short. So a strong break like this, break through the low, lower high, and then looking for a push back into the low end of the range will look really good in terms of the risk to reward, and probably see a pretty clean move as well, because we had a really nice move on the way up. So there's a good chance of seeing a pretty clean move on the way back down, but not looking likely at this point in time. So I'll back away from USD really. Yeah, it's not a market which I'll be looking to get involved in, even if we did see the clean break and retest, because again, it's inside a range and not really the areas which I want to operate in. But if it was to get a break, I would expect momentum to continue. But yeah, now it looks like price is holding on to that support level very well. Possibly we might be seeing a push back to the high here. Again, not really a trade I'll be after. So yeah, with Euro entity, I'll kind of stay away with this one. Maybe if price does get the big break, then there could be some nice shorts there, but not really interested with that pair, I would have to say. I appreciate that. Cease integrated, make the like button bullish. Do really appreciate that, guys. If you are enjoying this channel, enjoying the stream, enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, hit the bell whilst you're at it so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But yeah, Euro Aussie, Euro NZD, not my favorite pairs. Same thing with Pound NZD and Pound Aussie. In terms of Euro Pound, we did spike into that level, which I was mentioning yesterday, and we held as resistance pretty well. Haven't quite filled the gap to the downside in terms of taking out that wick, but price did have a nice retest of the low here, turn resistance, respected it, pretty nice bearish engulfing on the 4-hour chart, nice reaction there on the hourly chart, and we've had a nice sell. So I do think there's still a bit more downside to be had for Euro Pound back into 0.827. In terms of the bigger move for Euro Pound, this is where it gets a bit interesting because I'm still very bullish on the higher time frames. This is the monthly chart. As you can see, where we're trading, massive level of support. This is where I'm expecting price to find support and bounce from. This is this is where you want to be looking for your buys, but we're not really seeing that on the low time frames yet. It's a similar situation to the DXY because we're trading at such a big level at 107. But if I quickly jump over to DXY, you can see in terms of the 4-hour chart, we're getting evidence of price changing direction, which is price breaking through the low here, breaking structure. And it looks like we could be looking to form a lower high. With Euro Pound, we're not really seeing that development yet. The market's still forming lower lows and lower highs. It hasn't really showed us structure shifting yet. So really what I want to see is if we can respect the lows and start to break some of the highs here. And hopefully you can find some higher lows shortly afterwards and some nice opportunities to take some buys. So that's kind of really where I'm at with Euro Pound. I'm looking for some big buys, but they're just not there yet. I need price to go and break structure first. That's really the key thing I'm looking for. And maybe price doesn't break structure. Maybe we go break to the downside and have a big breakout of that monthly level. If that's the case, there could be some really big shorts over the next few months, really, because this is very critical level support on the monthly chart for Euro Pound, I must admit. So if price does break through this, it could really open up the floodgates for Euro Pound. And we could see some big moves, even back down to 0.7, but that's a story for another day. So yeah, it's a very pivotal level support, which if it does break could be colossal, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. At the moment in time, still kind of trading in that area, still more fixated on the buys really. So that's really what I'm waiting for. But yeah, yesterday we did talk about the short-term sells. Still look like they're in play. Possibly might even see another retest to get that move back into the low. And then we'll go from there. Maybe we continue to break the lows, or maybe we do reverse. We'll find out, and then I'll plot some trades off the back of that. And then if I take a look at Aussie New Zealand dollar as well, now the crosses. So this one not quite breaking through structure just yet. I'm waiting for price to break through the low here at 1.096 before I do start to sell Aussie New Zealand dollar. Again, the plan is with this one is that we're trading at some key levels on a weekly chart where we're having a lot of trouble to break through. So the idea is that if this is just price, trying to break through but essentially failing, giving us another fake out, then we might be seeing another opportunity to short Aussie New Zealand dollar. So a strong break of this area, a pullback, a lower high, then we could possibly see some nice shorts to take advantage of. As this is just a big range really, and all price is doing is just failing to break through the highs. So the plan is, if I drop to the 4-hour chart, is if we can break through some structure there, then I'll look for a pullback, a lower high somewhere, and hopefully some shorts. And that's the trade I'm after. Essentially what DXY is doing really. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Aussie New Zealand dollar. I don't normally look to trade this pair. To be honest, I only take trades when it looks very clear to me. And this is one of those opportunities where it does look pretty clear, and I do like it, especially because we had such a big impulsive run to the upside. Price was looking very bullish. Then we came straight back down very aggressively. So it's kind of a sign that says, okay, we tried to break out with a lot of momentum, but it was a complete failure. Price came down very aggressively. So I'm looking at this as a big kind of inverse V-shaped pattern. And a V-shaped pattern normally represents reversals. So this is where I'm expecting a bit of a reversal to the downside. So break structure, take out the lows, pull back, and then expecting a big drop and possibly, sells back down to those levels there. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We can start to discuss some targets. But for now, that's still the setup, which still might take a few days to actually get going. Eric, okay, dollar seat chef. Okay, we can touch on that. Still, yeah, dollar CHF, not one of my favorite USD pairs at this moment in time. I am looking at possibly a lower high forming for a move to the downside. That's really the plan here. Again, the reason why I don't like USD CHF is because overall in the higher time frames, I'm not really too clear with my bias in terms of what I'm expecting, because overall price has been pretty bearish, but now it's forming some equal highs and equal lows. Had a really big pullback, double top the high there, came back down, double bottom the low. So overall price is kind of trapped between these two levels. So naturally, if I'm going to find a trade, it needs to be closer to these highs or close to these lows and not in the middle. Because it's difficult to say if price is going to form a lower high to come back down, or it's going to keep pushing back to the high of the range. There's less edge, less the odds are stacked less in my favor versus when I'm trading at the high or the low here. So that's why I'm not really looking to get involved in. I have mentioned this brief area of supply on the left, which may be a reason why we could see a lower high and could see a drop. That's not enough for me to be excited about a trade opportunity just yet. So that's why I'm not looking at it. But what I can say is that the 4-hour trend does look very fatigued. It looks very tired. And we could be looking to see a bit of a move to the downside now. So I did say yesterday if price was to go and break through some structure, because we haven't broken through structure yet, we have actually respected that low. So it would be nice if dollar CHF was to see a move to the downside, break through the low, and then we can speak about some shorts and some pullbacks for continuation. That could look really, really good there for dollar CHF longer term. But yeah, I wouldn't really try and anticipate the low high forming, because number one, I would like it to be a little bit higher at that resistance. And number two, we haven't even broke structure yet. If I go to the DXY, you can see we did break structure, which is the key difference. So I wouldn't mind trying to anticipate a lower high forming, because we have evidence of price breaking through lows here, with dollar CHF not quite happening. Of course, they're both USD affected markets, or USD CHF, of course. So if dollar is going to fall, there's a good chance USD CHF is going to fall as well. But at the end of the day, I'd rather wait to take a good opportunity rather than just taking a short because I expect it to fall because USD is falling. So if you can get something like this, I think that could develop into a really nice opportunity. There's your first high. There'll be your second high after the break of structure. And there'll be the third high, which you look to take. And that could be a really nice short to the downside. And because the higher time frames aren't really clear, I'm not necessarily forming a trend here, I wouldn't be so greedy in terms of the targets. Think if we can get a short back down into this area, that'll make a lot of sense. Take some profit there around 0.87 and call it a day, really. Or maybe if you want, you can leave some positions to run. I just wouldn't be too greedy in terms of the targets. But yeah, that's really where I'm at with dollar CHF. It's a similar situation to dollar CAD in terms of waiting for the low to break. Dollar CAD hasn't come anywhere near the low, really. Dollar CHF at least kind of respect the low. But dollar CAD, I'm waiting for this one to break as well. But this one, if you compare this opportunity to dollar CHF, if you look at dollar CHF where we're trading in the middle of a range. There's our swing high up there. There's our swing low, and it looks like we're about to get a reversal. If you compare this to dollar CAD, which is giving a similar characteristic in terms of a very tight bullish trend, it looks like we're about to get a reversal as well. Similar pattern as well. But if you look at this one where we're trading at a massive swing high in the weekly chart. We just about pinched it. So if this does turn into a bit of a fake out and price does see that break of structure in the 4-hour chart, This one naturally has a lot more to give to the downside because we've just faked a major high, and we could see a really big sell. So in terms of the location, dollar CAD trumps dollar CHF, 10 times out of 10. And then they're both giving similar characteristics in terms of the 4-hour trend as well. So that's why I'm very focused on dollar CAD and not so much dollar CHF, because dollar CHF's in the middle of a range, not really doing much. Dollar CAD, although it's a ranging market as well, there's our equal highs, there's our equal lows roughly. But this one's just right at the top of it. So I have edge here. And naturally, if this is a fake out, that could be a really big move. So that's why I'm focused on dollar CAD, when frankly it's a very similar opportunity to dollar CHF, at least in terms of the 4-hour time frame. But yeah, hopefully we can see that break of structure. Again, this is still a few days away from forming as well, because I need that big drop first, which could take a couple days really, and then I need the pullback, which could take another couple days as well, before I do get the shorts. But this is something I'm really liking for dollar CAD, and hopefully you can see some opportunities very, very soon. And I actually like this setup a little bit more than pound, if we do get the break of structure, but pound USD looks good as well. So I'll be more than happy to find a buy entry there, possibly in the double bottom. I'm looking for the higher low, but I wouldn't mind the double bottom as well. Again, a bit more of an aggressive trade because kind of buying against all that momentum, but it makes sense in the right direction of the higher time frames. Of course, if I do fail, I'm making sure I'm managing the risk. So worst case scenario, end up taking a small loss. Best case scenario, taking a big win because of the positive risk reward. And hopefully you can push it back into 1.285, which would be all the way up into that level there. So yeah, that's really what I'm looking at. But the pair at the top of my watch list is at the moment pound CAD, which is not far away from an entry. So I have to be patient there. I do want to see a bit more upside with pound CAD before I do find an entry, but it looks really, really good. Hope you can find a trade with that one pretty soon. But again, because the CAD, the yen pairs look like they're about to retrace, it means that the yen pairs will start to find themselves on their watch list as well. So CAD yen is the only position I'm in at the moment. And I'll look to see if I can find some opportunities to add another position. Those are the two areas which I'm looking to find a trade from, 109 and 109.5 as well. Very, very good. And of course, hopefully you can swing it back all the way down to 103.5, which is essentially the lows there as well. But this is probably one of my bigger trades I've had. I'm not sure if it's the biggest trade. It's probably top 5, I would say, as I used to have I used to trade a lot more on the 4-hour chart before I switched to the hourly chart. So I had some pretty big trades from back then. But definitely, if it does get to the low, there will be one of the bigger ones I've had in a very long time. So I don't normally hold my trades this long. But again, it makes sense to, given the conditions of the market. Like, for example, if this was Euro USD, I would not be so aggressive with a trailing stop loss. I would very much have my stop loss just above the high here, probably. And I'll probably be stopped out about now, really, because that would have taken me out of the trade. If this was Euro USD, Pound USD, like a C-chair pair or something like that, I'll be very much aggressive with the trading stops. But because it's in the yen pair, because of where I'm trading it from, because of the location of my entry being right at this level here on the left, the fact that we've had such a strong rejection on the weekly chart, and such a strong close as well, there's just such a strong possibility of us getting back to that low. Of course, nothing's 100%, which is why I have secured profit, which is why my stop loss is still trailed to at least above this level here. So, gains are locked in, but there's such a good chance of us continuing falling. So I'm looking to maximize my returns and see if we can get a push back to that low. But the real play I'm looking for is additional entries, because one entry is great, but if you can find 2 or 3, you can really take advantage of these yen pairs and what they're doing. And to be honest, I don't really care which yen pair I do get involved with, as long as it's a good trade. Like I said, I would like to get back involved in CAD yen, but Aussie Aussie yen looks still pretty good to me. Dollar yen looks pretty good as well, and CHF looks pretty good as well. I mean, all of them are looking for pretty big pullbacks, but I'm not too bothered which one, because again, the yen pairs, they do the same thing really. So CHF looks pretty good, and I'll be more than happy to find a trade on this one if it does present itself. What do you mean you're still in loss? Do you mean loss on a trade, or in terms of losing money, like unprofitable? Let me know what you're talking about. In terms of a loss, any trader can experience a loss, so you don't want to be disheartened if you take a loss, because you will do that throughout your trading career. In terms of unprofitability, that becomes reviewing your trades and looking back to see your mistakes. The first step is having an edge. The second step is trading that edge, and then looking back at your trades, making sure you're taking the right ones and managing your trades correctly. And if not, you see where you're going wrong. You're taking the wrong trades. You're being impatient. You're getting in trades too early, too late. Are you taking trades in the right areas? Are you managing your trade well? Are you taking your profit too early? Are you taking your profit too late? Are you stop loss too tight? Is that affecting your win rate? Because you can have a lot more losses if you have a really tight stop loss. Of course, you maximize your risk reward, but is it beneficial to do that? There's so many questions you could answer which could help improve your trading, but that comes with actually reviewing your trades, and you know which questions to ask and what the answers to them are as well. So if that's the case, go through your trades. You will find 99.9% of the answers to your questions in there. Looking back over your trades and then seeing where you're going wrong, but you have to be very thorough. But hopefully we can see some of the pulls on those yen pairs. Let me have a quick look at the DAX. I want to have a quick look at the crypto markets as well. So the DAX, still looking pretty bullish. Looks like we're probably going to get back to the high there as well. We had a look at GR30 earlier, which was creating some highs, wasn't it? Yeah. And the other indices were doing that as well. So yeah, everything looks pretty bullish across the board for these markets as well. I wonder if a pullback is going to happen pretty soon, because I know we've seen some downside for some of the crypto, but not much really. We had a bit of a sell-off a little bit there for Bitcoin yesterday, but not much. Presented a bit of a wick to the downside, but overall still looking pretty bullish. I did say there could be another retracement back into this area for Bitcoin, maybe another move back down, and then possibly from here we might continue. I still think 100K is very likely for price to go and hit. We came so close to that area just for price to have a bit of a sell-off. I think naturally price is going to make that move, but maybe we go through one more drop first, maybe we double bottom at the low first, and then see the push. Either which way, I do expect Bitcoin to keep pushing to the upside and keep that momentum up. The only way I'll look to, I'll become a bit skeptical is maybe if I see a strong move breaking through that area. That would be a bit skeptical. Maybe we do go for a bit of a bearish move there. But otherwise, it just looks like another correction for price to keep pushing forward. And Ethereum, I actually really like Ethereum because this one's not trading all-time highs yet. Still got a long way to go. All-time highs are at here, which is just shy of 4,900. It looks like price is just broken out of that descending channel as well. So if that's the case here, if we can stay above all of that, don't break back inside the channel. Let's see if we can hold this support level here at 3,400. I do expect to see a lot more upside for Ethereum. Take up these highs and take out the all-time high essentially. So I think Ethereum is a nice buy on this one. Back down at 3,400. Whether we see a pullback there or not, that's a different question. We're looking pretty bullish at the moment, but maybe we do go through one more push and get this and get the buy. But either which way, Ethereum looking very bullish to me, and I think we can keep pushing. Wow, 9 years still lost. Yeah, I mean, in that case, you got to press the restart button really. In your situation, um, because if you're consistently losing money, then it's a situation where there's something inherently wrong with your trades. Um, because if you're taking trades and losing money, it's not necessarily because of your knowledge, because in 9 years you would have a lot of experience in the market, you'll learn a lot of things, and you should be very, very knowledgeable. As long as you put a lot of time in, you should be very knowledgeable at 9 years. So it's more to do in terms of your habits, your patterns, and more psychological problems probably, which is getting in the way of things. Yeah, I think in terms of keeping things simple, go back to the drawing board in terms of finding an edge, very simple edge. You'd be looking at working with trend lines, working with support and resistance, but finding an edge in terms of, okay, I'm going to look to buy pullbacks. Okay, if I'm looking to buy pullbacks, how I'm going to find entries, which markets I'm going to look for pullbacks on, what type of pullbacks am I looking for, bull flags, bear flags, and really just excel in one particular setup. Because you don't need to be a genius in everything. You just need to know something very, very well and just operate within those parameters. So find a setup which you're going to focus on and focus on that in detail. And get busy back testing, prove to yourself that that setup has an edge, over numerous years. And if you do see the results are positive there, then you can take that to the live markets and trade that yourself. And then you can see, okay, do I have a problem with myself? Because if I'm trading the strategy which is proven to be profitable, but I'm not seeing the results still, then I know it's something wrong for myself. Either I'm taking the wrong trades or getting into the market too early, not managing my risk well, not managing the trade well. All those questions you start to ask yourself, and you look through your previous trades, and then you get rid of what's not working, you focus on what's working, and you slowly build yourself up from there. Um, but yeah, in your case, it's definitely not a knowledge or experience issue. It's more of just how you're applying yourself to the markets is probably something inherently wrong there in terms of your habits, your emotions probably getting in the way of things. So that's the plan I would suggest to follow. What's up, Annie? Welcome to the stream. Do you think silver turned down from me? I'm very bullish on silver, Annie. I'm very bullish on silver. Well, depend. Let me know what time frame you're talking about, because I don't know. You could be talking about turn down from here in terms of like an hourly move, or are you talking about like a daily chart? Because longer term, I'm looking for silver to push all the way back to the highs at 35. I'm still looking for a push all the way there, and probably new highs there as well. So that's really what I'm looking for silver. But you may be talking about something on the hourly chart, maybe. In terms of the hourly chart, possibly, but yeah, I'm still very bullish still. So we might see a bit of downside for silver. Could take us something like that, but I do expect us to form a higher low and break structure, because we've had such a big pullback on the daily chart. This is now back in bullish territory. So I understand price has been pretty bearish for quite a while, but I will be looking at price breaking structure to the upside, and now looking to buy the pullbacks really. So that's really what I'm after there for silver. So possibly we might push down. Maybe we come back and retest the lows again. That could be a case. Maybe we spike through the lows as well. But I am really getting ready for the longs for silver. I'm looking for a push all the way back to the high there, 35 and beyond. So possibly we might see silver push down. It's just not a move I'm interested in. A lot of my confidence lies for the buys. Higher time frames are bullish. Weekly, daily chart still bullish. Now we've had a really comfortable move. Retesting the 0.618 of the fib from that low to the high. Don't know where my mouse went there for a second, but you can see we're having a very comfortable retracement. So from here is where I do expect to see higher lows developing, and some buys longer term. So that's really what I'm getting ready for on on silver. But yeah, possibly might see some downside. Okay, 4 hour candle. Okay, so yeah, really nice bearish engulfing, possibly, but I'm just not interested in the sells anymore at these areas. I'm more interested in the buys. So you might see a bit of a move down, possibly back to low there as well. But my confluence and my directional bias is pretty bullish. So I'm looking at buys at this stage. Hey, what's up, Pavinator? Happy Wednesday, right back at you. Hope you're doing well. Aussie dollar looking exciting. Coming to my buy spot. Yes, we did mention that earlier in the stream. It does look like Aussie dollar is finally seeing some downside. We had some Aussie news last night, which has caused a lot of weakness for Aussie itself, and of course USD's been a little bit strong as well. But Aussie dollar has been the driving force here for this move down, and now we're coming back into 0.64, which is naturally an area which I'm looking to take some buys as well, really, for Aussie dollar. It's a really proven level of support. As you can see, massive reaction 1, massive reaction 2. Could see another reaction from that area there too as well. So I do like the buys here for Aussie dollar. As I said earlier in the stream, I'm not looking to buy straight away, but waiting for evidence of structure shifting, trying to find a higher low somewhere, and hopefully you can find some nice buys probably sometime, maybe later this week, but probably early next week. In terms of the setup I'm looking for. But yeah, we're coming back into a nice area. I think your level is just a little bit below. Yeah, so 0.63680. So that's around here. So yeah, naturally, again, the area I'm looking at is not necessarily 0.64 bang on the money. It's just that zone. So, you know, my zone is roughly from 0.64 down to 0.636 really. So generally in this area, I'm looking for a buy. It's not necessarily 0.64 on the dot. But I just call it 0.64 because it's a nice round psychological level, so it's easy to refer to. But yeah, Aussie dollar, I like the average trading. There's a strong case for a nice bounce to be had. Just about being patient and waiting for the right time to strike. But it's another USD market that's pretty stretched to the downside. I do expect us to have a bit of a bounce. And of course, if we do take a look at the dollar as well, you can see in the situation the dollar as well, that's really stretched too. It's taking out some really key highs, you know, failing to break through them. So I do think this one's due a move to the downside there as well. So yeah, in my book, USD is due a move down, and that could help Aussie dollar really push on. So this is kind of the region where I'm looking for price to sell off for the DXY, 106.8, 107, lining up that resistance there, looking for the retest, and of course that lovely head and shoulder pattern, left head, right shoulder. Maybe something like that could form for Aussie dollar too. On the inverse side of things, inverse head and shoulder to take Aussie dollar to the upside. But yeah, that's really where I'm at with USD. And in terms of the USD pairs, as I mentioned earlier, pound USD is my favorite along with USD CAD in terms of pairs which I'm looking to trade. But pound USD is another pair which I'm looking to buy as well. Same bias as Aussie dollar, looking for the bounce here. But I'm either waiting for a high low here or double bottom. So yeah, depending how bearish things are, if we come a little bit deeper, are we looking for the retest of the low here for the buy? But yeah, pound USD looks good. Dollar CAD looks good as well. Just waiting for the break of structure. Looks like momentum is picking up there as well. Maybe this is going to be a lower high that's forming for the drop. I mean, I'm still looking for a pretty big drop, so a lot needs to be done before I do start to look to sell USD CAD. But hey, maybe it's going to come soon. So yeah, keep a close eye on dollar CAD. Pound CAD is still another one I'm looking at shorting wise as well. Hopefully you can see a bit more upside first to 1.79 before I do get involved in any shorts. Euro CAD is another one which I'm looking at as well. Looking a little bit bearish at the moment, but I do want to see a bit more upside before the short. Really key level of support here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Really strong levels of support, and of course always prior resistance over there on the left as well. So hopefully you can form a lower high here, respect that area, and see some shorts back down to where we came from. And then I'm going to keep an eye on Aussie CAD and New Zealand CAD because it looks like these guys are breaking out of their daily ranges. Really nice ascending channel, which has been in play for a very long time. Looks like we're finally seeing the break of that. So this is something I need to keep a close eye on. NZD CAD not quite there yet. We did actually see the break of this one last week, but we came back inside the range. Now it looks like price is trying to break out again. So yeah, this one not as clean, but it looks like we're getting a similar situation. I think Aussie CAD's the much cleaner one, so I'll keep an eye on Aussie CAD. But really, pound CAD and Euro CAD are my favorite ones. Um, no, I haven't. Time price opportunity chart and trading view. I haven't checked that out. What is that chart? How do you even get that up? I haven't say I've checked that out before. Go into your candlestick view. What do you mean? Do you mean this here? Okay, is it this one? Time price opportunity. Okay, it needs to be premium for that. Yeah, I'm not gonna upgrade for that, to be honest. Oh, does it show you like the volume of stuff? Wow, that does look interesting. Yeah, I can't say I've ever used that before, but I've seen people who use the volume to show like the different buying pressure inside of a candlestick. So you got the big candles which have like some buying pressure at the bottom and then less at the top. So you expect to pull back afterwards. Not something I've ever looked at, to be honest, but I've seen a few people that use that. Okay, how long price was trading each part of the candle rather than volume. Okay, so it's looking at the time instead. Okay, describing the things in premium. Got the Black Friday sale, fair play. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, TradingView's got a lot of things. I'm not gonna lie. It's like it's full blown. I'm not gonna lie. Like you could go in a real deep rabbit hole with all the things TradingView has to offer. It's pretty much endless. I mean, if you go in the indicator list, there's so many different things you can look at here. And of course, they've got plugins so other people can add to them and stuff as well. So yeah, TradingView is actually a really good platform. I must say, it's a very, very good platform to use. But with me, the reason why I like it a lot is just because in terms of the analysis side of things, in terms of moving the chart around and the ease of drawing things, just very, very, very smooth compared to MT4, which is what I used to use. MT4 is like a robot compared to TradingView. Um, so that's why I really like the platform, why I moved in the beginning. But since then, because I've been on TradingView for at least 5 or 6 years now, it's really developed and it's become a very powerful platform, I must say. Okay, I see what you mean. Spent most of its time below it, but then only in the last minute it did to push up. Okay, that's what people use it for. Yeah, it makes sense to be fair. Again, small things like that can be used to add a bit more to your edge. Yeah, I can definitely understand the logic there. And of course, I know a lot of people who do it in terms of volume as well. But anyway, guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. I'm going to keep a close eye on pound CAD, the yen pairs as well. I mean, the yen pairs looks like they're retracing, but nowhere near as much as I need before I can actually put any entries on. So probably going to still wait maybe at least another day or two for the yen pairs before I start getting some setups there. But pound CAD is right next to my level, so it could even be a setup today. So I have to stay on the ball with that. But yeah, guys, if I do anything in the markets, I'll let you know in the Telegram, and I'll share my ideas in the Discord as well. So if you're not in any of those channels, make sure you check it out. Link to The Discord is in the description below, and same with the Telegram in the description below, and also at the top of the chat as well, so you can't miss it. Join discussions, chat with other traders, including myself, and you can learn a little bit more about elevating traders to the firm as well. So check it out if you haven't done so already. But appreciate you guys coming onto the stream. Have a great Wednesday, guys. If you have enjoyed it, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. It does really help out. So I do appreciate everyone who has liked and subscribed to the channel. I will be live again tomorrow, guys. So we'll see you there, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Be there, be square. But besides, guys, have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.